Lads, Angel Reese is currently about to be suspended. She has 7 technical fouls on the season. And if this was last season, in a 44-game season, she would have already been suspended.
Angel Reese is treading a dangerous line that could soon lead to her being sidelined from the WNBA. Her recent emotional outbursts on the court, explosive enough to stun both fans and analysts, have drawn serious concern. If the technical fouls keep piling up, a suspension isn't just possible, it's likely. And honestly, it's long overdue that someone address this escalating issue head-on.
Not only does bricklayer Ratchet Reese lead the league in turnovers, she also leads the league in technical fouls with 7. And if she gets one more technical foul, her goofy ass is sitting down to be suspended for a game, man, because she can't control that ratchet bad attitude that I tell y'all about.
Angel Reese has already picked up 7 technical fouls in just 22 games by July 2025, an alarming number for any professional athlete, especially in such a condensed stretch. One more, and she's staring down an automatic 1-game suspension, as per WNBA rules. The league did adjust the threshold this season from 7 to 8 to match the expanded 44-game schedule, but Reese is still skating on thin ice and fast.
Angel,
Reese.
we're dribbling. Cross.
Clean to Cove and Angel Reese.
Foul.
Take her out of the dribble. A lot of ball on that play. You can see by the facial expression of Marie. She knew she had a lot of ball as well.
Get rushing
I can see it.
Angel Reese going inside. She's using her size and
Somebody.
physicality, trying to push Kalundakova off the space.
Angel Reese has already drawn 3 fouls, and I think she just got it.
The WNBA has developed a troubling tolerance for unchecked aggression, not just between players, but increasingly toward coaches as well. This season has exposed a concerning league-wide spike in technical fouls. According to ESPN, players had already racked up 92 technicals before the All-Star break in a recent season, surpassing the total from the entire previous year by 11. Coaches, too, have felt the heat, collecting 30 technical fouls with nearly 20% of the schedule still left to play. It's a pattern the league can't afford to ignore.
Genuinely, one of the funny things about this is that her fans are arguing that none of the techs are warranted. They are all warranted. Like, what are we talking about? Every one of these techs are warranted. I'm not joking when I say this. They're like, oh, 4 over 7 techs have been from double techs. Yeah. Something happens in the game and you square up to your opponent. It's a double tech. And your opponent, you go head to head with your opponent's a double tech. It's never not been a double.
The WNBA's head of officiating has attempted to downplay the spike in technical fouls, insisting there's no league-wide push to tighten the whistle. But the numbers tell a different story, and players around the league have taken notice. Dallas Wings center Liz Cambage even called out officials for softening the game, claiming she was hit with a technical just for the way she looked at a referee. That kind of hypersensitive officiating, paired with rising emotional intensity, is exactly what we're now witnessing with Angel Reese.
Goofy ass Ratchet Reese out here doing so great on the court with that bad ratchet attitude, racking up tech after tech after tech, man. Fake ass point forward, leading the league in turnovers because she wants to act like she's a point guard so bad, to act like she's better than Caitlin Clark when her ass can't dribble or do anything. How the fuck are you a forward leading in turnovers because you want to try to be a point guard so bad with...
If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe. Now, speaking of crossing lines with the coaching staff, let's talk about the moment Angel Reese made headlines for all the wrong reasons. In a critical timeout, less than 30 seconds left in a tied game against the Washington Mystics, Reese forcefully knocked a whiteboard out of assistant coach and Crosby's hands. The act, caught live on national television, spread across social media like wildfire and reignited the debate over player conduct and emotional discipline.
Are picking up on is when she is walking over to the bench and she slaps the clipboard out of her coach's hand. And you guys, my honest reaction to this when I first saw it, I was just laughing. It's kind of like the reaction that you're seeing from me right here. I wouldn't look into this too hard. I know it's already become controversial because they're like, oh, if another player did this, there would be think pieces written about.
Crosby, who also holds the title of Vice President of Basketball Operations and oversees strength and conditioning, was merely trying to communicate with Reese during a timeout when the Chicago Sky Star snapped. The outburst was a jarring display of raw emotion and blatant disrespect, a public act of defiance that peeled back the curtain on a franchise already showing signs of internal fracture. It was more than just a heat-of-the-moment slip. It was emblematic of the emotional immaturity that has haunted Reese throughout her sophomore season. And this wasn't an isolated flare-up. Earlier in the year, Reese openly expressed frustration about being cussed out by head coach Tyler Marsh and his staff, a comment that points to a deeper, more troubling erosion of trust between players and coaches, far beyond what can be chalked up to competitive tension.
Emotional decline continues for Angel Reese. The temper tantrums, the complete loss of emotional control continues for the Bayou Barbie, as well as the Chi-Town Barbie and Double Double Barbie, and whatever other alias that Angel Reese has decided to.
Now let's talk about Angel Reese's calculated attempt to hijack the spotlight during All-Star Weekend. In what many saw as a strategic move, she chose that moment to unveil her Reebok Angel Reese 1 Meb Bounds colorway, clearly banking on Caitlin Clark's star power to elevate her own brand. Reese knew Clark's presence as team captain would guarantee blockbuster ratings, and she tried to capitalize on that massive audience to debut her signature shoe. The timing wasn't subtle, it was deliberate and transparent. But just as she tried to ride the wave of attention, Reese now finds herself on the brink of suspension for racking up too many technical fouls. And the timing couldn't be worse. If she's benched right after launching her shoe, it could create an embarrassing cloud over her brand, damage sales, and raise serious questions about her maturity and marketability.
There is the part of me that's like, is this really necessary? And shouldn't Angel Reese be able to market herself at this point without invoking or even, insinuating some sort of attachment to Caitlin Clark? Because if I'm being honest about it, people say that moment was huge. It will live forever. That moment will live forever. But Caitlin Clark was on this trajectory already. And if anyone has benefited more from the attachment, at least from an attachment.
Instead of the spotlight Angel Reese had hoped to bask in, the reality was a sharp contrast. Her shoe reveal barely registered, and the All-Star game itself failed to capture the public's imagination, largely because Caitlin Clark wasn't there. The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game drew 2.2 million viewers, down a staggering 36% from the previous year's record-breaking 3.44 million. While it's still ranked as the second most watched All-Star Game in league history, the steep drop was directly tied to Clark's absence due to injury. Her impact on viewership is undeniable. Ticket prices for the game in Indianapolis plunged from $121 to just $64 on TickPick after Clark officially withdrew. And the numbers speak volumes elsewhere too. Indiana Fever games featuring Clark averaged 16,840 fans, nearly doubling the 8,552 fans seen at non-Fever matchups. When she's in the lineup, arenas aren't just sold out, they're being moved to larger venues just to keep up with demand.
All-Star Weekend, it's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark.
And this leads us to the uncomfortable truth that many within the WNBA ecosystem would rather ignore. Angel Reese is not Caitlin Clark. Not even close. Yes, Clark has battled through injuries this season, sidelined by quad and groin strains that have forced her to miss nearly 40% of the Fever's games in 2025. But even a banged-up Caitlin Clark generates more buzz, more ratings, and more fanfare than a fully healthy Angel Reese. Clark has dealt with 3 separate soft tissue injuries this year, including a recent right groin strain that kept her out of All-Star Weekend, yet her influence remains untouched. In fact, her presence is so powerful that even games she doesn't play in are seeing the ripple effects. WNBA matchups without Clark are averaging 428,000 viewers, a 40% jump from last year's 301,000. That's the Caitlin Clark effect in action. Even on the bench, she's still lifting the league in a way few athletes ever could.
The actual, let's take it seriously for a second. Take over your trap. I mean, who's she talking about right there? Because Clark takes over every single trap she goes to. In fact, they gotta expand the trap so she can take over more real estate every single place she goes to. I mean, there is zero argument to possibly be made that she isn't the biggest attraction, the one that brings the most attention, whatever. It's not even